Here we go.
Oh, it's never on.
Welcome to the July 23rd Town Board meeting. Please stand for the pledge. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
John Basley, first ward.
Bill Carlos, second ward.
Michael Safone, fourth ward.
Stefan Krakauer, Fifth Ward.
Ann Schurshin, 6th Ward.
Sorry.
Todd Tancredi, supervisor.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town.
All right, we have, unfortunately, because of the economic climate we're operating under, you can sometimes tell the season by the agenda, and tonight's a perfect example. We have a number of public hearings concerning property maintenance. So I'd like to open public hearing number 1, property maintenance at 6 Alexander Boulevard.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here to speak to this public hearing? Sarah Davis, our zoning administrator, is here. I'm sure she has some photos.
I haven't heard from anybody on this. Still a mess. And this actually was something that should have been done last fall. And it kind of like got
Yeah.
So you haven't
Oh, yeah.
heard?
Yeah.
Okay, so any questions from the board?
Nope.
Sorry, you need these back?
I've been.
All right, make a motion to close public hearing number 1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to a public hearing held on the 23rd day of July 2014, 7 p.m., Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, under Chapter 159 of the Town of Poughkeepsie Code entitled Property Maintenance, is hereby determined that said property located at 6 Alexander Boulevard, Poughkeepsie, County Dutchess, State of New York, bearing grid number 6159-04-920477, owned by Nicholas L. Mazziato and John Giziano, is in violation of Chapter 159. Be it further resolved that the legal notice of public hearing was posted on July 10, 2014, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on July 12, 2014. Be it further resolved that said determination is based on the presentation and report submitted to public hearing by the Town of Poughkeepsie zoning administrator. And be it further resolved that said owners of 6 Alexander Boulevard have not complied with the orders to remedy. And be it further resolved, the town board shall cause the removal of all garden waste, fallen tree limbs, and continue to cut the grass to a height not to exceed 6 inches, and any continued maintenance thereafter if the premise continues to not be properly maintained. And be it further resolved, charges shall be sent to the registered owners of said property for reimbursement, and be it further resolved that if said costs and disbursements are not reimbursed within 30 days of the bill, said charges shall be added to the next state, county, and town tax bill pursuant to provisions of section 159-13 of the town code, and shall become a lien against the property and filed with the Dutchess County Clerk and the Dutchess County Commissioner of Finance. And be it further resolved, the town highway department and appointed contractor is authorized to cut and continue to cut the grass to a height not to exceed 6 inches and to remove and continue to remove all garden waste and fallen tree limbs. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing number 2, property maintenance at 102 Creek Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone here to speak to this public hearing?
Actually, I was able to contact the woman's power of attorney, her sister.
Sarah, slide that mic.
I
There you go.
know. Contacted me and she has arranged for cutting and it has been cut once already.
Okay.
So I'd like to.
So you're satisfied?
I am satisfied.
All right, so I'll make a motion to close public hearing number 2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And there'll be no action taken.
So is this withdrawn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Withdrawn.
Make a motion to open public hearing number 3 at 16 West Dogwood.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here to speak to this public hearing? Okay.
Actually, they changed maintenance companies and another one has come forward. I spoke to them today. It has been cut. I've also asked them to fix the fence and remove the mailbox.
Okay.
And they have scheduled it for cutting every 2 weeks.
So you're satisfied
I'm
with?
satisfied with that.
Okay, so I make a motion to close public hearing number 3 and withdraw
Second.
resolution. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving right along, I make a motion to open public hearing number 4, 83 Fairview Avenue.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone here to speak to this public hearing? Sarah?
This one hasn't been touched.
Has not been touched, all right?
They're from the bank, and this one actually has the bank name on it, which is unusual.
I've seen the house.
Have they responded to anything? Any calls or letters?
Any questions from the board?
Nope.
All right, make a motion to close public hearing number 4.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Bill?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie, pursuant to a public hearing held on July 23, 2014, at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, under Chapter 159 of the Town of Poughkeepsie Code entitled Property Maintenance, does hereby determine that said property located at 83 Fairview Avenue, Poughkeepsie, County of Dutchess, State of New York, bearing grid number 6162-09-235679, owned by Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corp., is in violation of 159, and be it further resolved that the legal notice of public hearing was posted on July 10, 2014, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on July 12, 2014. And be it further resolved that said determination is based on the presentation and report submitted by the public hearing by the Town of Poughkeepsie zoning administrator. And be it further resolved that said owner of 83 Fairview Avenue has not complied with the orders to remedy. And be it further resolved that the town shall cause the removal of all solid waste, debris, litter, garden waste, fallen tree limbs, and shall cut and continue to cut the grass to a height not to exceed 6 inches. And any continued maintenance thereafter, if the premises continues to be not to be properly maintained. And be it further resolved that the charges sent shall be sent to to the registered owner of said property for reimbursement. And be it further resolved that if said costs and disbursements are not reimbursed within 30 days of the bill, said charges shall be added to the next state, county, and town tax bill pursuant to provision section 159.13 of the town code, and shall become a lien against the property and filed with the Dutchess County Clerk and the Dutchess County Commissioner of Finance. And be it further resolved that the Highway Department or an appointed contractor is authorized to cut and to continue to cut the grass to a height not to exceed 6 inches, and to remove and continue to remove all garden waste and fallen tree limbs, solid waste, debris, and litter. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing number 5, property maintenance at 187 North Grand Avenue.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone here to speak to this public hearing? Mr. Armstrong?
It's not about the property. My statement is that I'm glad to see there's been some positive results on a couple of them being taken care of. I'm still, I think, disturbed at the fact that the banks that own these properties are not being forced to take care of them. Our money's going out to pay for this to be done. I understand it's gonna go through the process, and somewhere down the road, someday, we may get some of the money back. When it is, who knows, when the property is sold. That could be a long time. I just do not think we should be the ones responsible for this. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Sarah, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, this hasn't been cut. There was a maintenance company last year. I double checked with them again. They're not signed up to do it. They don't have any.
So last year was maintained, but this year
This year it's not.
it's not.
I should have made, the bank.
Yeah, the house looked like that, and they lived in it.
I took care of it, well, obviously. And there are no new.
Poor neighbor next door.
It's too bad. It's a nice little house.
Yes.
That's not
It
the
really
one we.
sticks out because that neighborhood right there is very.
It does
neat,
stick out. I've
Tidy and it's.
drove by it. Yeah, it's a
Sticks right
shame.
out.
Yep.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, pursuant to a public hearing held on July 23, 2014, at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, under Chapter 159 of the Town of Poughkeepsie Code entitled Property Maintenance, is hereby determined that said property located at 187 North Grand Avenue, Poughkeepsie, County of Dutchess, State of New York, bearing grid number 6162-16810-359, owned by Brian J. Polonio is in violation of Chapter 159. Be it further resolved that the legal notice of public hearing was posted on July 10th, 2014, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on July 12th, 2014. And be it further resolved that said determination is based on the presentation and report submitted at a public hearing by the Town of Poughkeepsie zoning administrator. And be it further resolved that the said owner of 187 North Grand Avenue has not complied with the orders to remedy. And be it further resolved that the town shall cause the removal of all solid waste, debris, litter, garden waste, fallen tree limbs, and shall cut and continue to cut the grass to a height not to exceed 6 inches, and any continued maintenance thereafter, if the premises continues not to be properly maintained. Be it further resolved that said charges shall be sent to the registered owners of said property for reimbursement, and be it further resolved that if said costs and disbursements are not reimbursed within 30 days of the bill, the charges shall be added to the next state, county, and town tax bill pursuant to the provisions of Section 159-13 of the Town Code, and shall become a lien against the property and filed with Dutchess County Clerk and Dutchess County Commissioner of Finance. Be it further resolved that the Highway Department or an appointed contractor is authorized to cut and continue to cut the grass to a height not to exceed 6 inches, and to remove and continue to remove all garden waste, fallen tree limbs, solid waste, debris, and litter. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We didn't close this public hearing, so I make a motion to close public hearing number five and approve the resolution.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Make a motion to open public hearing number 6, vehicle for hire code, an amendment, joint town city. Thanks, Sarah. Second?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
There are taxi laws. Is there anyone here to speak to this public hearing? Seeing no one, I make a motion to close public hearing number 6.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Done.
Be it enacted, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to public hearings held on May 7, 2014, June 4, 2014, June 18, 2014, and July 23, 2014, at 7:00 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby amend Town Code Chapter 198 entitled Vehicles for Hire, which amendment is as follows, with those words underlined to be added and those words stricken to be deleted. See attachment. And be it further enacted that the Town Board does hereby waive the verbatim reading and does direct that said amendment be spread across records as if it in fact had been read verbatim. And be it further enacted that the legal notice of public hearing was posted on April 18, 2014, published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on April 23, 2014. And be it further enacted that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does determine that this is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review, and be it further enacted that said local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. There was a lot of work done on this revision. I need to thank publicly Councilwoman Shearson, the Chief, Captain Spiro, Sergeant Jitka, Craig Wallace, and our town attorney for the town. We had 2 meetings and went line by line, word by word through it. It is confusing when you read it the way it was presented. While everybody's not 100% thrilled with it, no one could raise an objection that we should delay going further with it. It has to do with authority and power granted to the chief of police. And the section speaks about the city chief and the town chief. And we're assuming that when the law reads chief of police, it could be either or. And there was some concern that it's not specifically set out, but it's not enough to not go forward.
Okay. Well, we appreciate all the work on everyone's behalf. Anything else?
Is there a rate in here at all? Because there's, on one page here, the fee for waiting for passengers, but there's no given rate.
That wasn't changed. You have the changes. The following sections weren't changed. We just went through that
Yeah.
with if the cab is hired for somebody to go from the railroad station to Red Oaks Mill, and they have a pickup at Borders, they can't make the pickup unless the passenger who called for the cab allows it. That's
Did
still
you say the rate?
There's no rate in here, but it says,
It's the same as
it says
it.
here, if a taxi waits for more than 5 minutes for a passenger at the request, there may be a charge for $1 for every 5 minutes. That's $12 an hour. That, nobody's going to sit in the cab for $12. That makes no sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
that's something that was definitely overlooked. I mean, that makes no sense. I mean, and you see cabs going by, they say they charge $5 for the first 5 minutes, right on their stickers on the side, so somebody should check in seeing what that is. I mean, you can always come back and change them some minor, but the ones
Yeah,
I've
we
seen
can,
with the
we
stickers.
can always
on
go back and change it
Yeah.
if we,
But it's a minor
Yeah.
thing, but $12 an hour for a cab driver to wait, you can't make a living that way.
The rates weren't,
No.
of the
It's-
changes
No.
that were given to us, rates were not in it.
Yeah,
No.
but it's one, that's the only rate I see in here, is that one rate.
I don't know in reality how often they wait, you know, how long they wait. Once they sit there for a while and beep
Yeah, I don't-
12 times, they move on.
Yeah,
I don't
no, I
think
wouldn't hold it up for that, but it's something that
All right.
they should definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely
Yeah.
take note of it. All right, anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to the end of our public hearings. Public hearing number 7 is being adjourned. We had a problem. This is a nuisance party public hearing. The Poughkeepsie Journal made a mistake and didn't get it published in time after they promised that it would be in the paper. So we're going to have that the first meeting in August. I'll run through the remaining agenda items, and then we'll take questions on agenda items.
Todd, or Mr. Tancredi?
Yeah,
Todd's
fine.
Number 7, sir.
Yeah.
I think we should.
Want to open it and just?
Number 7, because this is the rescheduling. This is to notice the public hearing for the 6th of August.
Oh, I see.
On this, Felicia's.
So we have to renote.
The
We have
ads
to.
run, yeah.
I see.
Have to renotice it.
Okay, so it's just an agenda item, then it's not a public hearing.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll have this as an agenda item, and we'll just reschedule the public hearing. Okay, so that'll be number 7. 8 is a bid award for some highway truck equipment that the highway superintendent's put together for us. 9 is adopt current adjusted base proportions, which is an annual event. 10 is to accept utility easements and right-of-ways for 3 properties. 11 is to approve a change of date for a block party on Conklin Street. 12 is to approve fireworks at Marist. 13 is to approve fireworks at Marist at a different date. 12 is notification of liquor license renewals for Coyote Grill and Marco's Pizza. We have 15 to accept town board minutes, and then we have a number of special consents. Although it's midsummer, seems like town hall's hopping, so we had to, a number of these we had to try to get in before our little break here until August. So SC1 is to appoint Eric Lamore as a temporary full-time police assistant to pick up the slack for someone that left. 2 is to set a public hearing date for vehicle and traffic, no parking on Boardman Road. That's by Lords, and we want to get that going before the start of school. SC3 is to authorize changes in personnel in the Justice Court due to one of the Justice clerks leaving in August, so we have to get that done. SC4 is to authorize the supervisor determine a breach of contract for our mowing for the town buildings, town hall, police court, and senior center. SC5 is to approve a walk. It's now being called the Half Moon Walk at Marist. It originally, or used to be, the Literacy Walk. And SC6 is a liquor license for Burger Fi, which is going to go in the Juliet. So I'd make a motion to suspend the rules for public comment on agenda items.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here to speak to an agenda item? Doreen?
Yes, I have a question about special consent item SC2, no parking on Boardman Road. That's usually in response to a problem. So Todd, can you elaborate on what that problem might be?
I cannot. I'll let Councilwoman Shearshin do that.
Yeah, there was one, well, in the past, there was an incident with people parking on the S-curve to pick up their students. But I guess that has resolved itself as better. But they had one incident where they had a game where they had people parking on the street, and it was very difficult for cars to get around. So it's to limit parking on Boardman from almost up to where the library is to the town city line on both sides.
What about, as something we can monitor, but Arbor Court could be an issue, which is,
We didn't include Arbor Court. We did include just a little bit of, well, the original Boardman Road up to where Coach Light comes in.
So
So they would park there around that corner.
when they have a sporting event, there's some overflow parking that parks along that street, along Boardman Road?
Well, no, actually, the overflow parking is they're parking up with the Hudson Valley. Lets them use their parking lot.
No, so this is to not allow parking on Boardman Road?
This is not allowed parking on Boardman at any time.
But there's no houses on Boardman, right?
No, there aren't any houses
In that
right
strip.
there in that strip.
So they're parking to the point where people can't get past?
Yes, it's,
I mean, how,
Sergeant Jinko was concerned that they were parking to the point where, especially when they had games and events there
because,
at Lord's.
Well, this
I mean,
was
it's-
brought up at the planning board meeting, but, a lot of times concerns are,
but we're
Not listened to?
talking about a road with no houses on it, so it's not impacting people.
No, but it sounds like a safety issue with an S-curve on the curve and stuff.
Don't show them park on one side.
That's what we're talking about, Ann, right? That where the
Yeah.
curve is?
So it's just
Further-
along that S-curve? or
No,
the-
it's further than that. It goes
well, it's up
almost
to the
to
that's where
library,
I-
you just
the
said.
library.
I mean, I think where there's a safety issue with the S-curve, yes, we should probably keep people from parking there, but the rest of Boardman, if there's no houses there, I mean, people park on public streets. To me, it's not crazy if they have a sporting event, it's not the worst thing in the world if people are parking their cars on Boardman Road, if it's not impacting people, the safety on that S-curve, and it's not impacting any residences. I'm not sure why.
Well, particularly, and I hadn't, I saw this when it was the special consents, but are we going to restrict on both sides of the street?
Yes, both sides of the street.
Because I could see, based on what you're saying, maybe restrict on one side,
I mean,
would allow
Yeah, and people
access on
jog
the other.
sometimes on that road, and since Lord's doesn't let them park in their parking lot anymore, sometimes people just pull over on the side of the road there, and then they, jog through Boardman. And now I guess they wouldn't be able to park there either.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see the reason to shut down the entire length of Boardman Road for anyone to park, just to make, I mean, it clearly makes it more difficult for Lords, but, I mean, is there really a need for that?
Question is, how big of an issue is it? mean,
I don't know. That's just I hadn't heard, so I don't know.
Okay, well, we can,
Yeah, I'd like more information on this.
Did
All right,
you
we
say
can get
something
more
about
information on
this
it.
was discussed at a planning board meeting?
Well, when the Lord's Field was before the planning board, I believe there were people who brought up issues about potentially people parking outside of the approved, like, if you want to call it approved parking area, the Lord's parking lot. So,
The only thing I would suggest, and I'll leave it up to you, Ann, how you want to handle it. Maybe we're to look at restricting parking on the east side of Boardman and just restrict parking over there and allow people, if there is some overflow, to park on the Lord's side.
Same side, yeah.
yeah, because there was a
They don't have to
problem.
cross the street, but
Because, I mean, they're not, it's not like they're there to cause trouble. They're there for their kid's sporting
Right.
event. And it's not a long extended period of time. They're not, if they were parking there while people were working at the school or something like that, where it was, all day, overnight, it's one thing. But if they're there for specific events, to me, it seems like it's not.
Well, I was told it was very difficult for traffic to go down Boardman at all when they were parking on both sides of the street. That became very congested. It was difficult to get cars through. And also then when you're letting the people out of the event, that became very difficult for them to empty out the parking lots.
But aren't we overshooting the runway by shutting it down completely on both sides of the entire street?
Well, I'll talk to Sergeant Jinka again.
yeah, why don't, it's on special consent. Think about it as we work through the meeting. If you want to delay it until the first meeting in August, we can do that, but we'll consider it.
thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? Rob? What'd you have, a night off from the school board? We don't get to see you very much anymore.
I just have some compliments to give to
Oh,
you.
well,
good
that's
evening,
work.
ladies and
Well,
gentlemen.
it's worth
Not-
having you here.
Not for you.
No, I said the school board's work, this is fun, you enjoy this.
I would like to just pay compliments for what I consider the exemplary professionalism that I've experienced recently with the Assessors Department, Kathy Tabor's department. That's 09.
Wait a minute, Kathleen just fell out of her chair. Come on, Rob.
And, well, Mark's going to fall out of his chair, too, because I wanted to pay the same respects to Mark Pfeiffer and the Highway Department. On tonight's agenda, there's an item that we've been working on collectively for probably
Yeah.
a little over a year now, so I wanted to say thank you to both of those
Great.
departments.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Anybody else? See no one, make a motion to close the public hearing, or close the public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 7, where are we, Ann?
All right, be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn the date for public hearing to consider the adoption of Chapter 144 entitled Nuisance Parties from July 23, 2014 to August 6, 2014 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town Poughkeepsie, 1 over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as and for the time, date, and place, and be further resolved that the proposed amendment is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the Town Board has hereby waived a verbatim reading of said amendment and does direct that said amendment be spread across the record as if it in fact, had been read verbatim, and be further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does determine that said action is a Type 2 action for the purpose of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.5, 20, and 27, and therefore no environmental review is required, and be further resolved that said local law is, if adopted, shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Number 8, whereas the town of Poughkeepsie, having received a Dutchess County Shared Services grant of $357,000 with the Town High Park, $287,000 of which is for the town of Poughkeepsie for snow control equipment, and the Town of Poughkeepsie Highway Superintendent, having reviewed the items available on the New York State bid list and having solicited bids for snow control equipment, which were open on June 23, 2014, at the Office of the Superintendent of Highways, now therefore be resolved that the Town of Poughkeepsie Town Board awards equipment contracts to Amther Welding in the amount of $39,904, to Reed Systems, Inc. in the amount of $416,200, to Hudson River Truck in the amount of $320,177, and to Navistar, Inc. in the amount of $646,782 as detailed on Exhibit A hereto, which contract shall be in a form acceptable to the attorney for the town, and be further resolved that this equipment purchase is a Type 2 action requiring no secret review. So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? I'd just like to thank Jim and Mark for working on this. Mark, do you have anything you want to add? Most of this, all this equipment is really for highway trucks, salters, sanders. As the resolution read, part of it's going to be through our shared services grant. Mark worked with the town board and worked with me last year and delaying a leasing of new equipment. The lease was due, but because of our economy the way it was, we delayed it a year. The rest of the purchases that aren't part of the grant are in the budget. Actually, the rate this year is going to be better than the previous rate we had in our last lease. What is it, a 6-year lease?
It was a 6-year lease, yeah.
6-year lease. The rate this year is going to be better. The amount is a little less than what we leased last time, so it should be pretty much a wash in terms of the budget. So I think it's a good deal, good job, and it's equipment that we, especially based on last winter,
We need it, yeah.
we need.
It's a little bit of a confusing bid because it retrofits our older trucks
Yeah.
to newer equipment, and we're getting 6 new trucks, so it works out well.
The other thing I'd like to add is over the years, working with Mark has been a pleasure because they do a good job over there, and they've also made a point to maintain the equipment and replace it as necessary so that our machinery works, it runs well. We're not going to have a year in which everything's got to be replaced tomorrow because it all fell apart. So the capital planning that's been going on over there for a number of years now I think makes a difference because it levels out the tax hit for the taxpayers versus having low in certain years and spike really high in other years. So I mean you guys run it very efficiently, take really good care of the equipment, and are proactive about making sure things get replaced before the useful life is over so that we get a little money for it and also have stuff that works when snow falls, which everybody wants.
Yeah, the ones we're replacing are 10 years old or better. The life of a snowplow at 10 years,
They've had their use.
Yeah, especially last winter, you're right.
Yeah. Anything else from anyone? So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adopt and certify the current base proportions as follows. Town homestead 51.61485, non-homestead 48.38515, town outside the village 49.16248, non-homestead 50.83752, consolidated light homestead 52.88143, non-homestead 47.11857, Spack&Kill School homestead 47.48838, non-homestead 52.51162, Arlington homestead 62.94375, non-homestead 37.05625, Wappinger School homestead 59.73309, non-homestead 40.26691. Be it further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adopt and certify the adjusted base proportions as follows. Town homestead 51.78253, non-homestead 48.21747, town outside the village homestead 49.99951, non-homestead 50.00049, consolidated light homestead 53.32259, non-homestead 46.67741, Spack&Kill School homestead 47.34580, non-homestead 52.65420, Arlington School homestead 53.24608, non-homestead 36.75392, Wappinger School homestead 59.49032, non-homestead 40.50968. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is the Spack&Kill the shift towards the non-homestead this year? Is that what I'm?
Yes.
Okay.
Kathleen? Hey, Kathleen? Kathleen?
Is that because the
Kathleen? Try not to answer until you get to the mic, because no one.
Sorry.
Hey, hear you.
Obviously, okay,
Is that because the residential values have decreased at a faster rate over there? Or is that?
It's because I'm just trying to check to make sure that the numbers, that the Spack&Kill actually went 48. The homestead went down this year. So, their percentage, the homestead went, they'll have less of a share. Commercial still is picking up more of the share. The rate's going to increase for commercial because, like I said, I usually don't just lower the commercial. We're just kind of, it's like you come in, you talk to me, give me what I need, and we'll look at it.
So the top numbers are what they are, and the bottom numbers are what you've adjusted to.
The bottom numbers on there are what to be used for the levy.
Okay, that's the adjusted.
Within
the discretion of the assessor.
Yes.
The top numbers are exactly what the numbers come in at.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's basically looking at last year's numbers.
Okay, all right.
As an average, you had
Yeah.
told me, and when we were talking with the controller, that town-wide, you thought housing values were down about 5%.
Right. I
overall.
did check into, because I was thinking after I went back downstairs talking about it. This year, we had, because of probably sales, lack of people, we're very diligent about removing any exemptions on properties that people, if they're not living there, they're not entitled to it. We have seen a decrease in the amount of veterans that are in the town. So therefore, because the town gives a big exemption amount for the veterans. And last year, we had, for town purposes, 848 veterans. This year, we were down to 333.
All moving south.
So that is one reason, because when I'm doing the second set of numbers for adjusted base proportions, it uses taxable value. So that also helped, when we were talking about the shift to the residents. That's what happened.
I just want to agree with Mr. Rubin. Whenever I've called the assessor's office, Kathy and everybody over there has been extremely helpful and knowledgeable. And I've had a number of clients and constituents that have also commented how nice it is to deal with you guys over there. So it's that's the public. What the public sees is
Yeah.
the way
Yeah, you do a good
It's a
job.
tough, when everybody's complaining about
Right,
taxes.
it's not always the easiest job,
No.
but people never complain about the way you treat them. Sometimes they
Right.
don't agree on the numbers,
Right.
but they do get treated well and professionally. So
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Okay.
Anything else? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Bill?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the grant of utility easement and right-of-way from Terry and Mabel Albano at 82 Sutton Park Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, to the town of Poughkeepsie, copies of which are attached, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to record the easement and any supporting recording documents in the Dutchess County Clerk's office. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Should we just read A, B, and C together, Jim, or should we approve A and then approve B and then approve C?
Well, in hindsight, I should have put them all together as one resolution.
So
but-
can Bill just read B and C and then we approve the?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Bill.
Yes,
You're good at it.
B.
Oh, I mean,
B.
I tell you.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the grant of utility easement and right-of-way from Gary S. Morano at 84 Sutton Park Road, New York, to the town of Poughkeepsie, copies of which are attached, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to record the easement and any supporting recording documents in the Dutchess County Clerk's office. So moved.
A motion and a second for B and then C.
C, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the grant of utility easement and right-of-way from Eli and Linda Souls at 6 Drum Court, Poughkeepsie, New York, to the town of Poughkeepsie, copies of which are attached, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to record the easement and any supporting recording documents in the Dutchess County Clerk's office. So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for 10, A, B, and C. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Mike?
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby rescind Resolution 7.9 of number 9 of 2014. Be it further resolved that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the application submitted by Pam Kingsley to hold a block party on Conklin Street between its intersection with Main Street and Lawson Street on August 23rd, 2014, from 2 to 10 p.m., and does hereby authorize the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department Traffic Division to close said street, but allowing access for emergency vehicles from 2 to 10 p.m. And be it further resolved that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby waive the open container law in the event alcoholic beverages are to be served. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie has heretofore received an application from Mayor's College to include a fireworks display at their block party to be held on Monday, September 1, 2014, and whereas the applicant has notified the Fairview Fire Department, and whereas a certificate of liability insurance has been filed with the town clerk naming the town of Poughkeepsie as an additional insured, now therefore be it resolved the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the application as submitted for a fireworks display to be held on Monday, September 1, 2014, at approximately 9 p.m. on Marist College campus at the end of Fulton Street, Poughkeepsie, New York. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Felicia, did you actually get a letter from Fairview stating that they received that?
I have an email,
Okay, that works.
but we've been getting better.
Yeah, they were just worried they were never notified a couple times. They just leave messages on the phone and so forth.
Yeah, no, Felicia's been kind of staying on top of that now. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie has heretofore received an application from Marist College to include a fireworks display at their football game to be held on Saturday, September 13th, 2014, and whereas the applicant has notified notify the Fairview Fire Department, and whereas a certificate of liability insurance has been filed with the town clerk naming the town of Poughkeepsie as an additional insured, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the application as submitted for the fireworks display to be held on Saturday, September 13th, 2014 at approximately 9 p.m. at the Marist College basketball field, 290 North Road, Poughkeepsie, New York. So moved. Oh, baseball field, not basketball, baseball field.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. 14-1 is a liquor license renewal for Coyote Grill, and 2 is a liquor license 30-day notice for Marco's Pizza. And let's see, 15, be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby accept the minutes of the following 2014 Town Board / Committee of the Whole meetings, to wit, June 4, 2014, June 11, 2014, and June 18, 2014. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items, to wit: 1, appoint Eric Lamry temporary full-time police assistant. 2, set a date for public hearing, vehicle and traffic, no parking on Boardman Road. 3, authorize justice court personnel change. 4, authorize supervisor to determine breach of contract, terminate. 5, approve Half Moon Walk Marist College campus road name. 6, notification, liquor license BurgerFi. And be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the town board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Special consent 1. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Eric Lamori as a temporary full-time police assistant for 90 days at his current salary, effective August 1st, 2014. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
Chief, is he a current employee now? That's it?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, before we read the next one, can we withdraw it and just
Adjourn it to,
adjourn it to the next meeting?
You just adjourn it to the next meeting if you
We
want.
could adjourn it to the next meeting so I can bring in more information on it.
all
And you
right.
should also ask about, how many events there are, because like down in our area, whenever there's an event, they just do no parking on one side and just post it for that day. That may be, have to resolve to that.
That's a lot, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll adjourn that until our first meeting in August. Number 3.
Be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby authorized the following temporary personnel compensation changes, which shall become effective August 18, 2014, and shall remain in effect through December 31st, 2014. Appoint typist Colleen Keith, position of clerk, to Justice Paul L. Banner at a salary of $22 per hour. Pay Barbara Ball, clerk, to Justice Paul Sullivan, an additional $1 per hour to compensate her for the extra work involved in training Colleen Keith and Sarah Hawk in the duties of clerk to the justice, and increase the compensation of typist Sarah Hoke by $150.57 per hour for all out-of-title work performed that was previously performed by Colleen Keith. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to mention that the Judge Sullivan and Barbara all do a good job over at the court, kind of keeping everything running in order. And I think this is good that Barbara Ball will be working with Colleen and Sarah to make sure that they're cross-trained on these jobs, because the more people that know how to do it and what to do, the better off we'll be. I know Barbara at some point had considered maybe retiring from the town. If she did, I'd suggest that we would bring her back to make sure that we finish that job and get that done, because I think it's always important that everybody knows the jobs below them and above them and how to do it. This is a good step in that direction, so I think it's worthwhile, and everybody's sort of working together over there now as a team, so it'll be a good thing. So,
Anything else? Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie hereby authorizes the town supervisor to determine whether Franklin Raish is in breach of his contract with the town for mowing of the town buildings, and in event it is determined by the supervisor that the contract has been breached, to terminate said contract and otherwise protect the interests of the town. So moved.
Second.
And our attorney had given us an amendment, so I'd like to make an amendment to the end of the resolution that would read, including the right to reward the balance of the contract to the next available low bidder. So all those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Second on the amendment.
Or second? Okay, and all those in favor? All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
And any discussion on the resolution?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys. We had a rec committee meeting today. This was one of our discussions, the fact that you and Tom got together so fast and jumped on it, because as Stefan's praised everybody tonight, when you come to town hall, and the first thing you look is high grass and everything, it looks like the town's sloppy, and we have somebody doing it wrong. We have to take care of business.
It's been a problem this year. We spent more time than we should have,
Address
in my opinion, chasing our contractor. So I think, this will send a message that we're serious about doing business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. 5. Whereas Dutchess County Real Property Taxers has received a request by Marist College to rename Literacy Walk on the Marist College campus, which was authorized by the Town of Poughkeepsie Town Board as part of Resolution 1218, number 11 of 2013, to Half Moon Walk. Now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby approved, subject to owner's compliance with all planning board conditions, the road name Half Moon Walk for the Marist College campus, and be it further resolved that upon adoption of this resolution, after compliance with all conditions, said resolution will be sent to the 911 facilities for Dutchess County by the town clerk of town Poughkeepsie. I had misunderstood that resolution, but I apologize. So they're renaming a road on campus instead of Literacy
Are they no
Walk,
longer,
Half Moon Walk.
no longer learning to read?
Not sure. Not sure what's behind it. Any discussion? Did we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Next is just
6 is a liquor license for Burger Fi, open in Juliet. That brings us to the end of our agenda. I'd like to make a motion to accept public comments on issues.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody here who would like to address the board? Doreen?
Yes, I have a question for the supervisor. You were checking into something for me about the Poughkeepsie Day School planting?
Yep, and, planning is looking into what I've been told at this point. It seems like they're in compliance with SWIP. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of wildflowers over there, but, I haven't gotten a written statement, but it looks like they're going to be in compliance with their SWIP, and the project is going to be closed out, but I haven't gotten that in writing yet.
Okay, so they did the required planting?
There wasn't, they did wildflower mix evidently, whether it came up or not, I don't know, but there doesn't seem to be concern. The major concern over there seemed to be a drainage issue that's been addressed, taken care of. I think the feeling is among planning and the planning staff and engineering staff that what didn't come up with the adequate rain and the seasons, it'll be the, wild pasture that it once was.
Okay, my concern was that the amended SWIP did say that they had to plant that, so my question was whether it was planted. So
Yeah, I
down-
don't know. All I'm telling you is I don't think there's going to be any requirement of the town to make them plant wildflowers out there that otherwise haven't been planted. But I don't have that in writing. I just knew you'd be looking for an answer, so I wanted to give you as much of an update as I had. What I've been told is the job is in compliance. They don't feel that it's it's meeting all our SWIP requirements and otherwise in terms of the design and what the work that was done. So,
well, it's curious because, like I said, the amended SWIP did call for that, so somebody approved it and must have approved that for a reason, but now it seems like they could potentially not be adhering to that, which again,
I mean, I'll give
doesn't-
you, when I get something in writing, I'll definitely, pass it on to you.
They can just go out and plant some wildflowers.
Who does that?
That would've been-
Who?
Poughkeepsie Day School.
It's a-
Okay, I
it's a
understand
bit-
where, but
Right, the Poughkeepsie, this was the
That's
issue
where-
where they exceeded the limits of disturbance, there was that whole.
Right, I understand
pond.
that.
Then they brought the rock in, and as of last August, they had said they had shrubs that they were going to replant, and that never happened. So then they did an addendum to their plan, their stormwater plan.
Okay.
And the approved stormwater plan addendum called for a rye cover crop and then a wildflower mix to be planted, and then it gave the ratio. So, if
so
that
the
was
intent was to return that piece of ground to a wild state,
Yeah.
wildflower?
That's what it was. It was just, it was like a wild pasture.
They do that?
Well,
Do
see,
we
that's
know?
what I'm
I
trying
mean,
to
it's-
determine, because each time, for the last X number of months, the
How do you return
inspection.
something to a wild state other than give it time to let it grow up?
But did they do it?
See, that's my question, because this kept, when the Morris Associates did their monthly inspection, they kept saying, site visit to confirm it's called native showy wildflower seeds, and the southern meadow can be arranged at a later date. Well, they've been saying this for months, and I'm just not sure how much later. And if it called for it, then why don't they need to do it? I just think people
I
should
don't
be
know if
held to
they,
their
I'm not
plan.
saying they didn't do it. What I'm saying to you is I don't think there's a concern that if, I'm sure if you walk through that meadow, which I haven't done because I don't want to trespass, you
Right, I
could
wouldn't
find a
either.
wildflower or two. I don't know if they put down a mix or, what I've been told by the engineers and the planners is the main concern with the project was drainage, and the drainage has been fixed. It's working as, they planned. It's been
Well, okay,
leveled.
I
and-
guess my thing is that then they shouldn't say that there's an addendum and that you're supposed to do this, and then when they don't do it, just say, well, it's okay. So that's the point. I mean, there was a specific amount here that it called for, and,
I mean,
Poughkeepsie Day School can't do.
And we can check and see if, someone can verify whether, it was planted.
Right. Okay, and then my other question, comment is about the Red Oaks Mill Park, and I've had some conversations, email and otherwise, with Councilman Carlos, and I am concerned about any potential disturbance to the wetland and the wetland vegetation, and I realize you're going to check with the DEC to see if any permits are needed, but some people might drive by and say, oh, it's just a bunch of weeds, but wetlands, they help with flood control, erosion control, they help with water quality. There is a value placed on wetlands to help, with those functions. So I really, would not be in favor of seeing that pond drain and the vegetation cut. And it does provide habitat. But aside from that, it also, like I said, saves money through, flooding and then flood control. And then you don't know what's going to happen if you do, change the, I don't know if I want to say layout, but you understand what I mean. If you change, right, so, you could end up with flooding somewhere else down the line. So I just don't think it's a good idea to do anything with that wetland, unless obviously somebody had some serious issue, which I can't say that I've seen anybody. People have come to the board for other parts of the town where they've had flooding issues, and this could be helping control flooding. And I think that if you make changes, there's a potential to cause more problems. So I'd like to see that just left alone. Thank you.
I think some wildflowers would look nice over there.
Thank you, Doreen.
Right.
Anybody else? Rob? Might as well get your money's worth, Rob. I mean, since you're here tonight.
Schools really start getting busy in September.
Yeah.
So there'll be
Well,
busy meetings that I'll be
I'm
attending
sure.
on Wednesdays.
You got a lot of work with the superintendent search.
Well, that's true, but that'll be happening within the next few months. But there's relations that we do with Dutchess BOCES, Dutchess County School Boards Association, but that takes place later. But what I really wanted to say at this point was that I have an additional compliment to give to you, your building department. I don't know her last name, Barbara, but I've been dealing with her the last couple of days, and she holds those contractors' feet to the fire.
Good, good.
She done
I'll
a
relay
wonderful-
that message. She'll appreciate that.
Thank you. I'd also like to take a moment to chastise. This is in regards to a situation at the South Hills Mall that is corrected today, but it had gone on for the better part of a week, if not longer. There is a cell tower flagpole in that area, just where the old Chase Manhattan Bank used to be. And for the better part of a week, the flag that was there was flying at half-mast, upside down.
Oh.
Really?
And even though I know that there's no laws governing how an individual can display their flag, I considered it a disgrace, and I wanted to chastise whomever was responsible. Thankfully, the flag was taken down today.
Good.
So there is no flag hanging down there.
Did they actually figure out who did that? There was a flag, I think, on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, Brooklyn Bridge.
In white.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah.
That's another travesty, and that's for somebody, as I said today on the news, I heard on the news that that is one of the most guarded landmarks in the United
Presumably,
States.
evidently not.
And how somebody could get up onto 2 towers on the bridge.
Right.
Not just one, and that's monitored, and there were 2 police cars sitting at each end of the bridge. But that's another story. That's a little bit out above my pay
Appreciate anything you
grade.
did to help correct that problem at South Hills.
Well, that's
We
actually
agree
my
with you.
daughter at the South Hills Mall. She took a very active role in that.
Good.
But I just wanted to chastise the people, whoever that is, whether it's the cell tower people or the mall
I'm
people.
sure
I don't know.
It's probably
It's probably neither one, Rob. It was
some
probably
kids
Road,
going,
because
messing around.
Sarah's been fighting to get that flag replaced, because prior to that, it was all torn. It took about a month to find the company, and just got replaced like 3 weeks ago, because it was all torn up there. And we had numerous calls.
Is that true? Because it's down now, it's gone now.
Yeah. Somebody else must have taken it down, because she was contacting them to get a new one put up. They just put a new one up like 3 weeks ago, because it was torn. We went there when their contractor was there. They refused to take it down because they didn't have a work order. So then Sarah finally got a hold of them. They called the owner of the mall, and they got it taken down.
Thank her then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Anybody else? See no one, I make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, before I read this, in today's Recreation Committee meeting, we realized that Cal Ripken League going on to the state finals, the 8 to 10-year-olds. I'd just like to wish them luck, and going up to Rome, New York, and they had a phenomenal season this year. The 8 to 10s Rome, New York is basically the World Series of baseball for them.
Nice.
They're going on, and the group behind them just lost this weekend, so they made it up to the state finals. Just quite a few of their different groups made it quite a ways this year, and it's a really great honor to see them. The parents and the kids are all excited about going up there, and if you watch around, they're going to be holding quite a few fundraisers to try to afford to take all these families up there this weekend.
They are doing some fundraising to try to help pay for the cost to be able to get all the families back up there. So anybody that can help out, they definitely appreciate it.
Good. Yeah, it's a good group. You ready? Yep. Be resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adjourned to executive session to consider the following matters to wit. 1, confidential communication between attorney and his client, the town board, based on attorney-client privilege. 2, matters leading to the appointment, employment, dismissal, or removal of a corporation. And be it further resolved, there will be no action appropriating money. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Town Board adjourns to executive session at 7:58 PM.